Alrighty then, it is Milltek Sports Civic Cup time, and the cars are actually just getting the whistle to go into the assembly area. All looking good, all looking fast. A few drivers I've spoke to are saying that they're quite confident they can be in the top 3, top 4. Ryan Bensley, who's always on the fringes of being in the top 5 in quali, he's had a good couple of races in the past. He's looking very fast round here. I was looking at some of the times, and he's looking very, very good. So, not many people to speak to as they leave here. I don't know whether they will get stopped actually in the collecting area. So we might just leave these guys. Dave giving us a little wave here in the red Civic. Good luck, boss. And there he goes. He's on his way. So production class car that is, and all the cup classes together. So if you follow me, let's go and have a little wander actually. We might be able to cut through, but Milltek Sports Civic Cup, one of the best club championships I think in the UK. Cars are old, some of them 17, 18 years of age, but still, you know, stiff enough to go racing, don't seem to have a problem with many parts on the cars, typical Japanese spec Civics. But yeah, I've driven a few of them and they're absolutely fantastic, and it's good to see so many on the grid, and so many top drivers coming from the likes of Junior Formula, Fiestas, and other championships, and then they can get into TCR UK, which is a good stepping stone, I think, this series. They are actually lining up. Just watch out for us, guys. Sorry, nice ice cream, lad. Won't mind a lick of that. And the ice cream. His girlfriend didn't like that. Anyway, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. That's probably going to get clipped up, isn't it? And I'll be in trouble. So, Daryl Wilson trying to find out how to... that went well. Oh, your fault. Daryl Wilson Racing, ladies and gentlemen. That's amazing. So, let's go and speak to a couple of the guys. Follow me. Actually, old Merv Beckett. The green lights have actually gone on. So, I'm just going to... will I get a chance to wish him well? I'll just say hello and bye. Welcome back, fella. Thank you. Good man. All the best. Have a good one. There you go. So the guys just go in there. Sorry, that was very quick, wasn't it? Not many other people around, to be honest, because a lot of these guys, they'll get staggered, and the last car's now going out. But this is definitely going to be a seriously fast qualifying to watch, because honestly, these cars around here, speaking to Ryan Bensley, they're so fast and nervous, a bit like myself. They're very bumpy on the jumps as well. So these guys will be hanging on to these cars. But I reckon it'll be time to go for the first flying lap. So let's get over to maybe a little advert break, and then to Andy in the comms box.
So, qualifying then underway here for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup at a very, very warm Castle Combe circuit. Then cars out on their outlap in the session, and they're ready to try and get themselves up to speed as quickly as they can, because it's only a 15-minute qualifying session this, so they can't hang around, unlike the TCR session we saw earlier on, which was half an hour in length, where they had bags of time to come in and swap tyres over, bend the tyres in nice and gently. This time it is straight on to the pace as the championship battle starts to hot up now for the second half of the season. With Alistair Camp now 7 points clear of Matt Luff in the points. Very different seasons they're having, actually, because Alistair Camp has 3 race wins to his name. Matt Luff just the 1, which came in our most recent race, the reversed grid race at Alton Park a few weeks ago. And Alistair Camp having had a bit of a slow start to the season, getting better as things go on. Matt Luff, though, has been reasonably consistent all year long with the 2 area motorsport teammates. Very, very evenly matched, although there is a bit of a discussion at the team about which of the 2 might be the fastest this weekend. A few people saying that actually the smart money might be on Matt Luff to be the quicker of the 2 area motorsport teammates here at Castle Combe. Alistair Camp, having never raced here before, still very much learning the circuit, but I think it's the same for most of the drivers on the grid. There are 1 or 2 who have had success here to Castle Combe in the past, but generally speaking, it is a circuit at which knowledge and experience and track time has very much been at a premium for most of the drivers. So first set of lap times about to come in. It's Harvey Caton who is leading them round, the youngster Harvey Caton, who is inside the top 10 in the championship just about. Had a couple of top 5 finishes at Cadwell Park at the start of the season. They have struggled to get the youngster, the ex-junior saloon car racer, into the top 5 since then. And as the second half of the season begins here this weekend at Castle Combe for Harvey and the rest of the grid, indeed, he will definitely be gunning for more top 5s and even a podium. There makes big changes to the setup of that Civic in the lead up to this session. Certainly they had no practice earlier on this morning. A few of them were out testing earlier on in the week here at Combe, but generally speaking, not really a lot of clues as to which way they need to be going with the setup. So Harvey Kate, I know their team have thrown a big setup change onto that car. At the moment though, it's Mr. Bensley, Ryan Bensley, fastest, 1:14.6. Paul O'Neill has joined me, Andy McEwen, in the commentary box again, and Ryan Bensley, for me, he's a bit of a dark horse this weekend, because not only is he one of the few drivers to have raced here at Castle Combe in the past, he's actually won a race here, hasn't he? He was telling me the most recent race he won, it was a few years ago, but the most recent race he's won was here at Castle Combe. He knows this place well.
He knows this place well. He knows this place well in the front-wheel drive car. I spoke to him just on the way out, and I said, you know, he needed a cheeky little tow. But it's early doors, isn't it? And he's only half a tenth there on pole. I mean, and the pressures will go up very quickly. It's a hard circuit. The rate of attrition's difficult. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I think he's definitely going to be in the top 5. I said, just stick it in the top 3 if you can, mate. But this is his best chance, and why not go for it?
Yeah, Bensley is 6th in the points, but it's all quite close actually from 3rd on back. He's only about 13 points off Morgan Bailey, who sits 3rd in the championship, arriving here at Cadwell Park. It's Matt Luff, 2nd fastest at the moment, ahead of Max Edmondson. Max Edmondson, I don't think he's had a top 5 yet this season. No, he hasn't, but he is 3rd fastest in the qualifying session. Dan Thackeray is 4th, and Alistair Camp in 5th. Now, just before you got up here, Paul, I was saying that down at Area Motorsport, there are a few private little bets going on as to whether it's going to be Matt Luff or Alistair Camp who has the advantage this weekend. And actually, the smart money might be on Matt, because Alistair is struggling a bit this weekend.
Interesting, that, isn't it? You wouldn't ever think he'd be struggling. I mean, he'll get quicker with every session, but I mean, that's 3/10 up the road nearly from Matt Luff from Campy. So yeah, very interesting. Edmondson going well as well in 3rd place there. So yeah, and it's Bensley's gone quicker again. It's a 10th and a half up the road. Ryan Bensley.
And with no tow, he is towing around Matt Luff, Harvey Kate and Max Edmondson. We're getting away from him. So every time they come through, he's a bit further away from that pack. And he is going quicker and quicker. Although now, Alistair Camp, listening to us clearly, has gone faster by 4/100ths of a second. And 1:14.389 is the new benchmark time. So Alistair Camp has clearly found something. Either that, he was sandbagging in pre-event testing here in Combe. And he is now 400ths of one Bensley. Rob Butler jumping into 3rd place. Rob Butler is a man I would love to see get a podium this weekend. Rob Butler, the very cheery Irishman, but he's not really had a lot to be cheery about recently. He hasn't had a big jump to the back end of last year at Donington. His TCR venture at the start of the season didn't go that well, but it's great to have him back in Civic Cup, and he is right on the pace here, 3rd place.
Yeah, super quick. He's a quick kid, him. He's very quick, and he's had a bit of a rough time of it, hasn't he, to be fair. But yeah, interesting this. I mean, he's close at the front, but that's impressive from Camp to turn around the fastest time if you've not really done much running around here. But Bensley, if Camp was behind him in that train, I'd be a bit annoyed with myself, because well, there you go, back to goes past our screens actually. You don't want to tow people around here. You know, you have to be sneaky about what you do, avoid you pull over. End of the day, something cars on the track, but you never know who's going to follow you around anyway.
And as I say, Matt Luff was trying to get a tow from Ryan Bensley, couldn't keep up. So Ryan Bensley's just improved again. He's still 2nd, but he found another 100, so he's now 300ths off the pole position time set by Alistair Camp. Alistair Camp then with a 1:14.389 did not improve on his most recent lap. We did get an improvement from Thackeray though. He's 5th position now. Owen Hillman further back, putting in an improved lap time as well. Now within the production element of the field, Paul, we're looking really for Alfie Jenkins versus Dave Marshall. They're joint championship leaders. Who's got the early edge in qualifying?
Yeah, exactly that. And Jenkins, do you know what? I'd love
Thank you, boys.
That's all right, no worries.
Yeah, Will's in.
You could hear that whistly noise. That's just, you can hear cars coming in, and that's just the marshals warning the other people in the pit lane that there's cars coming through. A lot of people coming in, probably a pressure check now, lowering the pressures and just trying to get on top of things with the car, because they'll now start to understeer and bounce around a lot more.
Yeah, Dan Thackeray we're watching here coming through the chicane then and continuing on his way. Dan Thackeray in the number 29 machine, pushing on. Dan is 4th fastest at the moment and only just under 2/10 off pole. Now this is the one thing that all of the drivers, when I've spoken to them so far, have agreed on. It's going to be very, very tight here at Castle Combe. It's a relatively short lap, and these cars, of course, all very carefully controlled set of regulations to make sure that no one car or team has a performance advantage, and that is showing in the lap times, because we've got the top 5 covered by less than 1/4 of a second.
Yeah, that is, and I've just seen Ryan Bensley, who's P2 at the minute. He's just gone through past our screens, so he'll be approaching the S's now, but there was a lot of cars in front of him, so I know he'd had a cooling down lap of 1:17.8, so he's going for it again. But yeah, you can see the graphics on the left-hand side: red for the Cup class and blue for production class. Just a little bit less powerful and a bit less money spent on the cars.
And you'd think, Paul, around a circuit like Castle Combe, which is so demanding on the engine, so demanding on the suspension, on the chassis, that those production cars would be more than 2.7 seconds off Alistair Camp's pace. I mean, they really are getting quicker and quicker with every round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, that it's the same, basically the same engine, but there's different parts that have not been modified on the production cars. But you're dead right. I think some of the best drivers are actually in the production class of this fantastic series.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will see in time the likes of Alfie Jenkins and Dave Marshall and Louis Hounsell moving up into the Cup class as well, which will be fantastic to see. Right, lots of drivers coming into the pit lane for a sort of mid-session interval, if you like, and now starting to push on again. The 71 car coming through, that's the guest driver for Pro Alloys Racing. Pro Alloys Racing have been running Owen Hillman all season, but then the second car, the number 71, has had a number of different drivers in it. It actually won a race, remember, at Brands Hatch in the hands of Ben Sharp, and this weekend it is Simon Norris at the wheel of number 71, but he's just backing off on that lap. Simon Norris 13th fastest, so there or thereabouts within the Cup element of the field, but still Alistair Camp the one that they're all chasing then. Bensley second, Butler third, Thackeray fourth, and Max Edmondson rounding out the top 5, except that now changes because Rob Butler, well, his lap times keep on. I think there's a dodgy transponder going on here for Rob Butler, because it says he's just jumped up 19 places, but he was already third as far as our timing screen was concerned.
Yeah, he's gone now, hasn't he? That's just changed, and everybody's gone up one. So he's actually, that's gone. Butler's time's gone. So in third place on TSL is actually Matt Luff.
Yes, there is a car stopped on the way up Avon Rise, by the way, at the start of the lap, so there are now yellow flags out. That's going to hamper anybody's chances of improving their lap time then, and that means that those who have just left the pit lane, perhaps having tweaked the setup, tweaked the tyre pressures, are not going to be able to set an improvement at least through that first part of the lap, although the yellow flag's now in because the driver is to a place of safety. Who that is, I'm not too sure. Not anyone showing on the timing screen has stopped. It is a red car, I can tell you that much. Could be Dave Marshall. This is all stuff that we're spotting out of the window at the moment, but it could be one of the FN2s that has pulled over on the run up the hill. But anyway, Alistair Camp pushing on, back out on track, having recently made a visit to the pit lane, and he'll want to improve if he can here, Paul, because 3/100ths of a second ain't a comfortable margin.
No, it's not, and if Bensley gets a little bit of a toe and his pressures are right, I've got to say, I've not seen Ryan in the pits, unless he's been there without me seeing it, to re-pressure the tyres. He must be pretty happy. Who is that?
Oh, it's Ryan. Is it? No, it's not. It is... Oh, it's Dave Marshall, I think. That's 99, isn't it?
Dave Marshall.
Yeah, so not Ryan Bensley.
Here's Bensley.
Yes, there he is.
No, it's Al Williams, sorry.
We're ever the pros, Paul, aren't we? We're only halfway through the season. We still don't know who's who.
Who else do you want to throw in the hat?
James Thompson, maybe. He drove a Honda once, didn't he?
Your turn, mate, your turn.
Yeah, George Al Williams. I was about to mention him, actually. Down in 8th place. George has not really had the best of runs over recent rounds. We know he's got race-winning pace. He's had success in the championship before. 2 podium finishes, but it seems that when he's good, he's very good. But when things aren't going to plan, they're really not going to plan, and 8th place is further down the order than you would expect him to be.
Yeah, he's a good pedaler, isn't he? So, but this circuit, I think it's just so fast, so bumpy, and so specialist. That's where he's going for a lap, though, isn't he? So he turns in early for Camp. Don't take too much curve because you're going to bounce on the exit, and that destroys from the last corner all the way up to Quarry where you brake again.
Got Rob Butler back in third place now, so he's either third or about 25th. The Irish can't quite make its mind up, so I think it is a dodgy transponder, that's all it is. So Rob Butler, the Irishman, back into third. George Williams, for what it's worth, did not improve, and with Rob Butler now being reinstated into the running order, drops down another position into 9th place then, with time for 2 more laps.
Yeah, I was talking to Ryan Bensley just before he went out, and just to ask him a couple of things, and when I was speaking about getting into that top 3 and doing the best you can, he was quite comfortable with the first 2 rows. He said, okay, first 2 rows, it's all where you need to be. Only problem is with that, if you make a bad start, you can get dropped because you are on throttle all the way up that hill, and I've seen people go from pole to like 10th place. Yeah, such a long time until you hit the brakes.
Yeah, and as you say, quite steeply uphill, a sort of gradual climb all the way from Folly, which is the right-hand kink, until you get to the top of Avon Rise. This is down at Tower Corner now, and Owen Hillman working his way through. Dan Thackeray goes third, so Dan Thackeray does now beat Rob Butler to third position. That's an improvement there for the man who sits joint third actually in the championship. Level third with Morgan Bailey is Dan Thackeray. Morgan Bailey is down in 7th, so advantage Thackeray in that private little battle, and that demotes Matt Luff down to the back end of the top 5. That's not what I expected.
Wow, that is interesting. Luffy will not be happy about this, will he? Yeah, that will not be too good for him, but it all looks pretty status quo at the minute, doesn't it? So close. I'll tell you what this is going to do. This is going to be one of the best slipstreaming races we've seen. It'll be so close, Andy.
It's the perfect circuit for these cars, isn't it, really? Because you do get a bit of a toe. They're all very evenly matched, and these nice long straights. I mean, they get stuck in at circuits where it's supposed to be very difficult to overtake at, so give them a place where there are plenty of opportunities to have a lunge, and they're certainly going to get stuck in. Alistair Camp comes across the line, sees the checkered flag with the session now over. He does not improve on that occasion. Matt Luff was also in that group, and he has gone 4th because Rob Butler has done a disappearing act again, so I think he'll end up back in 5th place again when all is said and done. The last few drivers coming through trying to make some late improvements, and most of them, I think, having had the better of their tyres, not able to go any quicker at the end of the session.
Well, that is interesting, isn't it? That is very interesting. Ryan Bensley in P2 will be super happy as Norris comes through. I would be happy with that, I think coming through and just getting involved, especially here, it's so difficult to be, to find your way around and get in the rhythm.
No, it is. It's definitely a rhythm circuit, and the trouble is, by the time you get into your rhythm, you've punished the tyres to the point that you're then not going any quicker, really. Still a few pushing hard at the end, though. The screech of tyres you're hearing is Harvey Caton coming through the final corner sideways, and Harvey Caton 12th fastest in that session, so the wholesale setup changes they made to that car, perhaps not really quite working for him, but they might well throw something else at it before the race later on. Very much a learning season for Harvey and the team, and they're learning. He's learning how to drive the car quickly, they're learning how to set it up, and this is such a quirky circuit setup wise. It's not your bog standard kind of Silverstone or Donington where you could kind of have a rough idea of what to do with setup before you even get here. This place, because of the bumps, because of the speed that you're carrying through these corners, it probably does require a very different setup than pretty much any other circuit. So interesting stuff in that qualifying session. Alistair Camp provisionally ending up on pole position with Ryan Bensley alongside him. Bensley looking for his first win of 2022 and looking to try and move himself well into that fight for about 3rd place in the championship. The Civic Cup do have drop scores as well, but because we are only halfway through the season at the moment, we've done so far 8 races with another 8 to go, so we are bang on halfway through the season. Not really that worth looking into the drop scores so far, because they actually dropped their 3 worst scores, so that's almost half the races that we've had so far that at the moment wouldn't be counting. So we'll stick to the overall points at the moment, where Alistair Camp is 7 clear of Matt Luff, and he is 5 places clear of him in that qualifying session, because Camp is 1st and Matt Luff, it looks like, is going to find himself qualifying the very best 4th. It will probably be 5th though once they do inevitably reinstate Rob Butler into the lap times. So 2 15-minute races coming up for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup later on in the day, significantly shorter than the TCR races that we'll be seeing, and that's good news for the Civic drivers, who will be a little bit concerned about tyres. Remember, they run on grooved tyres, though, a bit of a track day type tyre, and different tyres as well these days than they are used to. Dave Marshall there continuing on his way, so that's interesting then. So Dave did pull over at the side of the road, but the joint championship leader in the production class now getting his FN2 Civic going again. So whatever it wasn't terminal, and that is a relief for him, but it will still need to be fixed, of course, before the first race later on, that first race which will be kicking off at 2:05. So they have at least got a few hours, just under 3 hours before the lights go out for the first race. The car looks fine, apart from a few war wounds from early rounds, but he contacted Alton Park last time out, and Dave, who's running on some much newer tyres this weekend, so was definitely hoping for good things, ends up qualifying within the production category, second actually in class, despite the fact that he only competed in about 2/3 of the session. So a decent effort that from Dave Marshall, the man from the northeast of the country, making the long voyage down to Castle Combe this weekend, and he is one of many drivers who was not here testing during the week. No testing on Friday here this weekend, so a lot of the teams opting not to come down for the Thursday test and to wing it on the day, so to speak. So Alistair Camp then gets himself back onto the pole position, and Paul O'Neill has hot-footed it down to the podium area to catch up with him now.
Woohoo! Amazing! Milltek Sports Civic Cup. Alistair Camp, #1. Give us a...
It's just your mate as well.
Gives a bang on the roof, fella. Amazing. Pole position. Come and chat, geezer. Come and chat. Oh, you needed that, but you haven't done much running around here, have you?
No, I did yesterday, and my best yesterday was a 15.1, and we was on the old boots from Brands, and as I said to lads, we're going to go and try what we just had on, but I stripped the clutch at 4 o'clock, so it was like do or there. My old man's going to Sainsbury's today, and he's like my right arm normally at racing. He's like in my ear saying do this, and like I say, I rang him up and says I've stripped the clutch, so we can't try them new to see what it's like, so we just have to go out blind tomorrow. And then when I seen the Delta, I thought that'll do.
She's on. Was it pointy front end?
Yeah, it was brilliant, mate. Like I say, it's just gripping, but it's just all, I think it's all made up there up at Quarry at the end of the day, and if you go in too hot, the front won't bite no matter what tyres you got on, so it's about getting the speed off to get the drive out. But yeah.
Thought Matt Luff was on. He's been looking quick. I think he's down in 6th or something like that.
Yeah, yesterday in testing, I mean, him, George, Rob, all of them lot were in the 48s yesterday. 14 yesterday, 0.8, and my ideal was a 14.8, but yeah. I think I've just beat my ideal as well, so I'm well happy with that.
Ryan Bensley, P2. I know you just had a bit of banter there, saying it's good to have him behind, but he's fast enough, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fast, and like I say, I'm really happy for him because he's had a hard time, like trying to get that car to where he wants it to be for himself, and he's tried his hardest, and he's such a nice lad, obviously going on with him well in the paddock, and no, it'd be great to be on the front row with him, giving a little smile, a little cheeky wave, and we'll go again and see where we get. So hopefully his starts aren't too good.
Top man, he should be all right. But listen, have a good race later on, and well done. Absolutely spot on. Alistair Camp, Cup class pole position. Our friend Jess there, just trying to get hold of Alfie. Alfie Jenkins, well done, mate.
Cheers. Can't ask for more than that.
That was amazing, proper effort.
Yeah, it was great feeling. First time on pole this year as well. First time at the circuit, so it's a great track. Bumpy, but it's a great track. Really fast as well. Yeah, I love it here.
What did you think when you went out the pits? Was it Thursday when you were doing a bit of testing? What did you think? Did you think, oh, I don't know about this place? Looks a bit, everything's a bit close, isn't it, in 5th gear and all that?
Yeah, there's a lot of short gears that you need to snatch to get them few tenths of a second in, but it's yeah, the top end speed coming into turn 1 as well. It's quite scary when you first go into it. But yeah, and you're braking on as you're turning as well, so the car's quite skippy, and the back end comes round a little bit. But yeah, it's good fun.
Top man. What do you reckon for first race later on? Are you just going to try and get your head down? You'll probably have some problems, won't you, with the Cup cars, because you're going to be in with them by the looks of it. Because you guys were in like 2.6 seconds off, you know, a really fast time, pole position time in Cup.
Yeah, it's really close throughout with some of the Cup cars as well. But yeah, I'm just going to try and get my head down, try and build a gap as much as I can, and just try and keep the other production cars behind me and hopefully get another win.
Top man, listen, good luck.
Cheers.
All the best out there. We will be watching, and hopefully you will be watching later on too. So join us a bit later on, and we'll have the first race, Milltek Sports Civic Cup. And it's back to you now, Andy.
Much, Paul. Great to hear from our two pole sitters, both feeling nice and confident ahead of the day's racing. 2 races coming up for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, like I said, but the next on-track racing action live here from Combe will be at 12:35 with all of the build-up to our first TCR UK race of the day. We'll have a live grid walk as well, which hopefully we're able to bring you some action from as well. Looking forward to getting down there on the grid myself with Paul O'Neill for a bit and soaking in the electric pre-race atmosphere. Then we'll be into Civic Cup racing pretty soon after, 1:50 for our night round of the championship, first race of 2 here today, and then we rinse and repeat for the afternoon with the 2 reversed grid races for TCR and Civic Cup coming up later on in the afternoon as well, with the TCR second race kicking off, the live coverage kicking off at 3:50 local time, and then 5 p.m. For round 10 of the Milltek Sport Civic Cup. And we're back again at Donington Park for the next TCR round later on in the season. So thank you for joining us for qualifying then. We'll have all of the race action live here from Combe a little bit later on.